Imagine the moment that you register a hitman has been hired to kill you. Your heart will race, your muscles tighten, your breath will quicken, fight or flight. Well, this is about a man named Baba Haji in Kerman, Iran. His crime was opening his home to street children. For many years, these kids had been exploited by carpet merchants day after day. They sat cross-legged in dark and damp workshops, using fine threads to weave intricately designed carpets. They were paid pennies as the merchants sold exquisite Persian carpets for thousands. But now that Baba Haji was taking care of them, they no longer needed to weave carpets. The workshops sat empty. No carpets were getting woven, and no orders getting completed. To give credit where credit is due, the carpet merchants did try to talk to Baba Haji before they sought to kill him. But there was no changing his mind. The children under his protection were being taught how to read and write. They received vocational training in their spare time instead of squatting on the cold mud floor and tying knots on large wooden looms for just enough money to buy bread and yogurt. On the weekends, they played soccer and enjoyed the sunshine. They no longer worried about how many rows of the carpet they'd managed to complete. These kids now had a roof on their heads, over their heads, and from one day to the next, they knew exactly where they would be. They had a father named Baba Haji. And in case you haven't guessed by now, Baba means father in Persian. Seeing their livelihood slip through their fingers, the carpet merchants went to the mosque leader or the mullah. They asked him to talk to Baba Haji. And the mullah tried his best. He asked questions like, how could Baba Haji's wife, Bibi Khanum, want so many kids in the house? He pointed out that they already had a grown son. Feeding, bathing, and clothing all of these kids, that couldn't be easy. After all, Baba Haji was not a wealthy man. But Baba Haji told the mullah that he considered the children gifts from God. So the carpet merchants agreed that killing Baba Haji was the only way to get their child workers back. They found a man who was very desperate for money and willing to do the job. His name was Junaid. The payment was agreed upon, and the timeline was 2 weeks. Junaid started watching Baba Haji from afar. He observed a very predictable routine. Baba Haji left for work in the mornings, bought yogurt at noon, went home for lunch. Junaid decided to kill Baba Haji in broad daylight, right in the middle of the bazaar. The first step was to throw red ink at Baba Haji after the yogurt purchase. He anticipated that Baba Haji would see the red color and respond by attacking him. And that's when he would stab Baba Haji, claiming self-defense. After all, everyone would have witnessed that it was Baba Haji that attacked him first. The day came. The red ink was thrown. Baba Haji fell down and was covered with yogurt and red ink. He laid still on the ground for some time and then slowly got up. Baba Haji did not lunge towards Junaid. In fact, he didn't say a word or even look at him. Instead, he straightened his suit, calmly collected the pieces of the broken bowl, and walked peacefully towards his home. Junaid was perplexed. His plan had been an epic failure. A week passed. There was a knock on his door. It was Baba Haji asking if he could enter Junaid's home. He was shocked into silence to see Baba Haji standing in front of him. This time, Baba Haji looked straight at him. I know your intention, and I've spent the last week trying to figure something out. Baba Haji continued, by trade, you make candles, isn't that right? Junaid nodded yes. But your candles don't smell good and therefore don't sell well. So I imagine that's why you're willing to take money for... He didn't finish the sentence. Taking a deep breath, Baba Haji added, so I went home and I started exploring how you can improve the scent of your candles using cloves. And I've found a solution. I've come here to teach you what I've found. Junaid's life changed from that moment on, and luckily no further attacks were made on Baba Haji's life. 107 years later, Baba Haji's legacy continues as his home remains a sanctuary for children who don't have parents that can care for them, many of whom have managed to find their way to successful careers and family. I have to add that I learned this story about my great-grandfather by coincidence when I gave my uncle a lavender-scented candle. As he smelled the candle, the scent reminded him of the night that he reluctantly attended a huge party in Kerman. When he was introduced to the guest of honor, it was none other than Junaid, who hugged my uncle for the longest time and shared the story of Baba Haji. Now, every time I enjoy the smell of a scented candle, I think of the story of Junaid and Baba Haji, the father to generations of boys and girls in Kerman, Iran. Baba Haji is the white, bearded gentleman sitting in the second row, and it's my honor to share not only Baba Haji's lineage, but this story with you this evening. Thank you.